What's up, everyone? Today is April 10th of 2023. The topic of today's video is going to be this mass shooting that occurred at a Louisville bank earlier this morning. Around 8:30 a.m. is when police were called to reports of a gunman who allegedly opened fire at Old National Bank in downtown Louisville, Kentucky. Curiously, the bank that is now temporarily closed sits right across the street from a stadium called Louisville Slugger Field, which is the minor league baseball home of the Louisville Bats, a minor league affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds. And as I commonly discuss on this channel, the world of mainstream media, mass shootings, major stories including violence and death in particular, are connected to the world of sports through synchronicity and what we call the language of gematria, which is the alphanumeric observation and practice that connects the alphabet to numbers. As you see on the screens, simple English and gematria all have gematria values of 74. This, the most basic ordinal cipher. From the ordinal method, we branch off into the base 4 ciphers, where the alphabetic order can be reversed or reduced to a single digit. And when you run these numbers of the names, locations of major news events, and connect them to dates on the calendars, you certainly come across a wild number of coincidences that we are just, I guess, expected to accept. One of these major coincidences is that the mayor of Louisville, Craig Greenberg, who we'll be looking at in depth for this video, claims that one of the people who died in the shooting was a friend of his. Now remember, this shooting comes just 2 weeks after a mass shooting at a school in Nashville, Tennessee. And in that shooting, we're told that actress Melissa Joan Hart happened to be on scene for the shooting. And if that's not enough of a coincidence, consider that she claims that one of her children also went to Sandy Hook Elementary School during a shooting there. So there's always a ridiculous number of coincidences surrounding these events, and we're going to start talking about Craig Greenberg. Another coincidence with Greenberg is that ESPN personality Mike Greenberg, who recently allegedly had some sort of heart condition that's kept him off of television for a while, here's Mike Greenberg in the news today, the same day as this shooting, talking about Fred Couples. And this is a perfect example of how things operate by the numbers in the media. Consider how Fred Couples was born on October 3rd of 1959, meaning that on today's date, April 10th, he's 23,200 days old. Well, in numerology, zeros are ignored, so this represents the number 232, and the person who's talking about him in the media is Mike Greenberg, whose name, using the reverse alphabetic order, equals 232. Curiously, the name Mike Greenberg also sums to 119, using the standard 26-letter alphabetic order. His counterpart, Craig Greenberg, the mayor of Louisville, also has this 119 value. So this shooting right across the street from Louisville Slugger Field. Note the address of Louisville Slugger Field, 401 East Main Street. 401, these are the same 3 digits in today's date, April 10th, written 4/10. And here we're being told that 4 people plus 1 shooter was killed in this story, like the number 41. In the second part of this video, we'll talk about how this is connected to the passing of John Madden. The name Madden equals 41. And like today's date, April 10th, this will make a lot more sense once we get there. So first we talk about Craig Greenberg, this mayor who's on television, and I lost count of the number of times he said the phrase gun violence when referencing this shooting, as if the gun itself is what's responsible. Notice how Craig Greenberg was born on August 22nd and became the mayor on January 2nd. This means he became the mayor of Louisville 134 days after his birthday. Today, the shooting in Louisville is now 134 days before his next birthday. In Gematria, the city of Louisville sums to 134 in reverse. This is being called the Louisville bank shooting. Notice how Louisville bank shooting sums to 100 in reduction Gematria. This shooting directly across the street from Slugger Field, as this stadium is often called. The nickname there is Slugger Field. Well, Louisville bank shooting and Slugger share Gematria of 100. Today's shooting near the stadium falls on the 100th day of the year, April 10th. In a significant cipher called Latin Gematria, which I mention in every video, and what I consider to be the most significant outside of the base 4, the name Craig equals 100, the name of the mayor. His last name, on the other hand, Greenberg, equals 231, and today is 231 days after Greenberg's birthday. 231 days, also 33 weeks, and 33, a highly significant number to masonry, which sums to 33. We're told that the 33rd degree is the highest. Police, secrecy, order, false flag, all 33. 2 weeks ago, in the shooting at Nashville, we're told that 3 adults and 3 children were killed. The address of the school where it happened was 33 Burton Hills Boulevard. The word eclipse sums to 33. And while Louisville is not directly in the path of either of the 2 great American eclipses, Nashville was. And so was the city of Uvalde. You may remember there was a school shooting there last year. And we'll talk more about this as we go. When Craig Greenberg became the mayor, let's go back to Louisville Slugger Field here. This is a huge part of this. Again, the stadium that's right across the street from the shooting. This stadium opened on April 12th of 2000. That date was exactly 1,390 weeks after Craig Greenberg was born. 139 is the ordinal value of Freemasonry and gun control, which is clearly a part of the agenda with today's event. Now, when this field opened, Greenberg was also 234 days after his birthday, and this stands out because the name of the stadium, Louisville Slugger, sums to 234 in reverse. Craig Greenberg's birthday even falls on the 234th day of the year. 234 days before today's shooting, the video game Madden NFL 23 was released. And on this edition of the video game, you'll actually notice Madden is the feature character on the cover. They'll usually put a player here, but since Madden died just before the release of this game, they put him on the cover. Notice how the name Madden equals 23. And this all connects to Easter as well. Yesterday was Easter. Today's the following morning. Easter summing to 23. Now, this stadium, Louisville Slugger Field, turns 23 years old this week. This happens on Wednesday, April 12th. I thought it was interesting that one of the most recent valuations for Old National Bank, where today's shooting happened, is $23 billion. And this fits right into what we're being told about the shooter. The shooter is being reported as a 23-year-old male. Well, the 23rd prime number is 83. And this brings us back to the mayor of Louisville, whose name sums to 83, the 23rd prime number. It was reported that the shooting began at 8:30 a.m. When Craig Greenberg, whose name equals 83, became the mayor, he was 18,030 days old. It was also exactly 8,300 days after Louisville Slugger Field opened. Louisville Slugger bats are actually made by a company called Hillerick and Bradsby. And notice how Hillerick and Bradsby also gives us this 83 gematria. The word murder sums to 83. Now, let's explain why we're talking about John Madden throughout this entire thing. Today's shooting falls on April 10th, and April 10th is the birthday of John Madden. Of course, legendary football coach, one of the most recognizable names in football, longtime announcer. And again, the Madden video game series is the only series licensed by the NFL. So, a legendary name in coaching, Madden. Well, in the sport of baseball, there's another famous coach named Madden, Joe Madden. And notice how Joe Madden's middle name is John. So his name is Joseph John Madden. And once again, he's a baseball coach, much like how this shooting occurred right across the street from a baseball stadium. So Joe Madden, he was born on a date with 83 numerology, and just a couple days ago, he turned 830 months old. Again, the shooting beginning at 8:30, like the name of the mayor taking office 8,300 days after Louisville Slugger Field opened. Notice how John Madden's full name syncs up with Louisville Slugger Field and Louisville, Kentucky. Matching 4-digit numbers there. Pretty strong. But there's a deep riddle here, connecting us further to Joe Madden, who led the Chicago Cubs to the 2016 World Series. Truly one of the most incredible moments in sports history, as the Cubs hadn't won a World Series in 108 years. So this shooting was at Old National Bank. And when you look up Old National Bank, you find out that it has a headquarters in Chicago, Illinois. On top of that, Old National Bank has tremendous gematria overlap with Chicago, Illinois, including the Latin and standard methods of gematria. Now, in the sport of baseball, Major League Baseball, there's an American League and a National League. Chicago has a team in both leagues, but the National League team, again, we're talking about a shooting at National Bank, is the Cubs. And the Cubs are the team that Joe Madden led to victory in 2016. Now, I thought it was interesting that Joe Madden's birthday is February 8th, which is written 2-8. Today's shooting at a bank, which equals 28. Also, the 28th prime number is 107, and shooting sums to 107. Also, with the number 107, Joe Madden helped the Cubs break a streak of 107 consecutive seasons without a championship. The 2016 World Series were played against the Cleveland Indians, and Game 7 was played in the city of Cleveland, which is home to the 216 area code. This World Series was in the year 2016. So here we have the same digits, 216. Well, the number 216 is the product of 6 times 6 times 6. And there was a lot of strange 666 stuff going on in the World Series. And in the 6th inning of that game, the Cubs scored their 6th run. Notice how Cleveland has 3, and the pitcher has 30 pitches, so it's the 33. 3 plus 3 is 6. And David Ross was the 6th run. Now, David Ross was the only player on either team in that game to have gematria of 666. And look at this strange dick bump ritual they do. Boom. I counted at least like 8 of these things, where he goes up to one of his teammates and they do boom. They just bump each other in the dick. You ever see that before? The cameraman makes sure to get everyone up close too. So this was a huge nod to 666 during this game. Really weird stuff. The coach of the Cubs, Joe Madden, notice how his name equals 666, the way he spells it with the O. Well, today's stadium shooting across the street from a baseball stadium occurred 66 weeks and 6 days after the death of John Madden, which was on December 28th of 2021. And look at the phrase baseball stadium summing to 666. What we're looking at there is Satanic Gematria, which is a very fascinating cipher. This cipher built around the number 666. You'll see the phrase Satanic Gematria equals 666 in this method. So 66 weeks and 6 days after the birthday or the death of Madden, on his birthday, a shooting near a baseball stadium, 666. Now, the number 666 is connected to the mathematics of the circle, which equals 666 in Latin. Mathematical perfection, the circle, 666 as well. Now, when you write out the number 666, you get this value of 2083, which is connected to pi. Pi resolves the mathematics of the circle, 3.14. Well, 2083 is the 314th prime number. If you write out 3.14, you get matching gematria with John Earl Madden. And what makes that so interesting, 3.14, it's like 6 circles, the number 888, all circles. 6 circles equals 609, like pi equals 69. In reverse, 3.14 equals 235. This is the number of lunations in the Metonic cycle, and today is 2,350 days after the Cubs won the World Series. But back to the number 666. When you write out the phrase 666, you get gematria of 87. When the Cubs defeated the Indians to win the World Series, they won by a score of 8-7. The shooting today outside of a stadium at Old National Bank, stadium equals 87, Old National Bank equals 870 in Sumerian. And on today's date, John Madden would have turned 87 years old today. So earlier we poked into this story about Mike Greenberg, as Greenie shares a last name with the mayor of Louisville, Craig Greenberg, and Mike is in the news today. Now, he was in the news because he was talking smack about Fred Couples. And I want to point out how Fred Couples has ordinal gematria of 124. This is another big number connected to what's happening today. The name John Earl Madden in the same alphabetic order. John Earl Madden sums to 124. Today still marks the first week of Brown lunation number 1240, like 124. The stadium that this shooting occurred right across the street from opened on the 12th day of the 4th month in the year 2000. So that date is like 12400, which is very similar to the lunation number, 1240. What about Joseph Madden, right? Joseph Madden. Notice how his name equals 124 and 412. April 12th can also be written as 412 here in the States. And as far as the number 124, the last total solar eclipse fell on the date December 4th, or 12/4. And today's date is 70 weeks and 2 days after that eclipse. The shooting was at Old National Bank. Old National equals 702. But perhaps more interesting is that Joe Madden's full name gives us double gematria of 72. 70 weeks and 2 days after this 12/4 eclipse, and everyone in this story with 12/4 gematria, essentially. Now, when John Madden died, he did so on a date with 61 numerology. And his full name in reduction, John Earl Madden, equals 61. Now today, the date of the active shooter, which equals 61, is 61 days after Joe Madden's birthday. Now 61 is the 18th prime number. And at any given time, there's 18 players in a game of baseball. Notice how baseball equals 18 in reduction. In standard gematria, baseball also equals 171. And 171 is the 18th triangular number. So if you add every number 1 through 18, you get a sum of 171, a number connected to baseball, 171. The name Joseph John Madden in the alphabetic order sums to 171. Also, the mayor of Louisville, Craig Greenberg, when you use capital letters, his name sums to 171 as well. This capitals added cipher used to be called Francis Bacon. What this does is add 26 for every capital letter in the phrase. So this is a cipher that's particularly significant for names, like here with Craig Greenberg with 2 capital letters. So this shooting at Old National Bank, and notice how Old National sums to, well, there you got a 180, just like 18. But Old National also equals 45. And think about how this is connected to the Cubs winning the World Series. The Cubs had not made a World Series since the year 45, prior to their championship. John Madden died on a date with 45 numerology, also 81. Notice how the name Joe Madden sums to 45 and 81, just like the mayor of Louisville, Greenberg, 45 and 81. Joe Madden's full name, also 81 with the S exception. But what about this 162? So the name Greenberg equals 162. The name Joe Madden also equals 162. And with capital letters, the city of Louisville equals 162. Using Sumerian gematria, MLB equals 162. In the alphabetic order, Major League Baseball equals 162. And every year, each team plays 162 games per season. The word baseball even has double gematria of 162, whether you use the reverse order or the prime number cipher, which is ordinal but with associated primes. You get a double 162. So how interesting, right? 18 guys in a game, 54 outs per game, baseball equaling 54, and 162 games per year. As far as the number 54, baseball summing to 54 twice, Joe Madden just so happens to have been born in the year 54. So the point here is that this guy is littered with all sorts of numbers connected to baseball, and every baseball is made up of 108 double stitches in the pattern to keep the ball together. And again, 108 years between World Series victories for the Cubs. This also reminds us of the Willis Tower in Chicago, which for many years was the tallest building in the world. And although the owners of the building say that it's 110 stories, it's actually 108 stories using standard methods. So yeah, a lot of connections here. Again, the big part of this all is that this shooting falls on John Madden's birthday, 66 weeks and 6 days after his death. Baseball Stadium 666. And 666 was the big number of the Cubs World Series victory, which happened in 2016. 6 times 6 times 6, 216. So we talked a lot about John Madden, but I wanted to quickly revisit the passing of John Madden, because there's one other thing that sticks out about what's happening today. First of all, Fred Couples. Notice how Fred Couples, his birthday is October 3rd. And October 3rd is written 10-3. Well, if you measure from the death of John Madden to today's date, we find that today is 103 days after the anniversary of Madden's death. And we're going to be talking about how this connects to the planet Mercury. The planet Mercury has ordinal gematria of 103. And Mercury had everything to do with the death of John Madden. In ancient Greek lore, Mercury was the god of travelers and communication. And John Madden, as a football commentator, had to travel to communicate what was going on to the audience. And John Madden was deathly afraid of flying. Well, the same day that Madden died, there was an airport in Las Vegas named after Harry Reid. And I believe I mentioned that in this. Forgive me, this was over a year ago where this happened. I probably haven't... Oh, here it is. So, what was the connection here? Oh, yeah. John Madden used to coach the Raiders, and the Raiders now play in Las Vegas. And the Las Vegas airport renamed itself on the same day that John Madden died. So, again, we're talking about Mercury, the god of communication and travelers. And, you know, the airport being renamed on the same day he died. Each planet has a magic square, and Mercury's is 8 by 8. It also takes Mercury 88 days to orbit the sun. And not only does the name John Madden equal 88, but his full name, John Earl Madden, equals 888. And the very first Madden video game was released in the year 88. The game's release date fell during the time of Gemini, which is ruled by the planet Mercury. And think about how the other sign ruled by Mercury is Virgo, which is when the NFL season begins. So the Raiders, who John Madden used to coach, now play in Las Vegas. And Las Vegas sums to 86 and 130. These are virtually identical to the digits in Mercury. Mercury equals 86 and 103. John Madden retired with 103 victories in the regular season. And the season he died, actually it was last year, that was the 103rd NFL season. But check this out. This is where it gets insane. John Madden died on the date 12/28. And the date 12/28 fell 103 days before his 86th birthday on 4/10. And when you write out Mercury, you get 12/28, 86, 103, and 41. So he died on 12/28, 103 days before his 86th birthday, which falls on April 10th, or 4/10. And Madden equals 41. I mean, that's crazy. This is as strong as a gematria connection as you'll ever see. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because anytime I talk about Madden, I think that's worth mentioning. Also noteworthy that the street that separates Louisville Slugger Field and the bank where today's shooting occurred is Highway 61. According to maps here, you see this street, Route 61. And I mentioned this because it was 61 days after Joe Madden's birthday. John Earl Madden equals 61. He died on a 61 date. Big active shooter number. All right, guys and gals. That's about all I have for this video. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Once again, this work and the website that helps power it is viewer supported. So anyone who's able to join a membership or join with a membership to the site, greatly appreciated. Everyone who's joined so far, your support is highly appreciated. And I do feel like, to some extent, I owe some more videos than what I've been doing lately. So I may go live later today. If not, then again tomorrow. I want to do another super stream. A lot to talk about, a lot going on that I haven't talked about on YouTube. But do remember, guys, the blog is linked down below in the description. And although the videos may have been slower as of late, the blog is chugging right along. I don't think I'll ever lose a passion for writing. So make sure you guys are checking that out. If there's something I haven't done a video on that you're looking for. I always see comments asking for stories that I've already decoded. So feel free to pop in there. Use the search function for anything you're looking for. And yeah, once again, that'll do it. Peace, love, God bless, and we'll talk to you next time. See ya.